Roll credits. Got y'all there for a second. I knew I was live. That less great though. Hi. Happy Halloween. And welcome to another edition of Live in the Dark with VideoDREW. This is a makeup tutorial hour and sometimes conversations with other people from the very important, very famous Movie Trivia Schmoedown, a show that I am involved with. That I will be the undercard of a match coming pay-per-view, which means live, which means special, which means very popular, probably the most popular person in the show. That will be November 13th. And then also on the side, I do this sometimes. So welcome. Hi, everybody. Better? I feel like that's better. The Streamlabs are open. That's streamlabs.com/VideoDREW. Backslash is the most important part. Welcome. So yeah, this is Live in the Dark. We have very special guests today. We have Sabrina Spicy Take Ramirez coming on later today, this evening. But then we also have, somehow, our crow host is still here. Danny. Let's bring up Danny. Danny.
I'm getting old.
What's happening?
I have back problems now.
Great. Glad to hear it. So you were telling me right before the break how, right before we were doing this, how you guys don't have daylight savings time anymore because the Crow president forbid it.
Yes, the Crow president forbid it because, he has to do something, so he does. He, cancels daylight time. So, yeah, that's what presidents do,
Yeah, that's what they can do. They can cancel daylight. That they can literally do that. What's weird is, now that you say that, it's almost weirder that we haven't had our daytime canceled yet. That feels like maybe that's the end of 2020. Now that you guys have done it with your Crow God or whatever, we're gonna follow suit. If 2020 has been any indication, the Crow president does something, and our president follows immediate suit. First with the shiny object passation in early September, and just going from there.
Yeah, and also I do think that actually the Crow president follows the American president. That's right. Actually the relationship.
Oh, that's the order of events, right?
Yes.
Well, he is himself very shiny, so I could see how that could happen.
Yeah, there was one time that the Crow president said, "I love you" to Trump, and then Trump said, "Hey, good to see you again."
Oh,
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
I can tell you're not kidding because that is very sad. that is too sad to be kidding about and too adorable for something for you to just make up with your little crow brain. So otherwise, how are you? You said sleepy earlier. I think we've gone through that. I also earlier mistook you for a crow that lived in Argentina. Because I was thinking about a PETA, and then you got very upset.
They are bad crows over there. They have bad crows.
Well, yeah. I mean, they did a lot of They did a lot of crows that were running from the tribunals. So that happens.
They also fought with the English crows.
What?
They don't like the British crows.
Yeah, well, colonialism's a thing too. But let's get away from world politics because that's certainly my area of expertise. And let's get back to movie news, which is also certainly my area of expertise. I think producer Sean's got some, it's time for the movie news segment. Are you so excited? I need some more energy from you when you read these.
I am okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need
Oscar Isaac in talks to star in Moon Knight series at Disney Plus. Is the story of Mark Spector, an elite soldier who decides to fight crime after he becomes the avatar of the Egyptian god of the moon. Come on, that's world excited.
Well, that's pretty excited. correction, there is no Egyptian god of the moon. There's just the sun one. His name is Ra, and he was in Stargate. So I like that they're
really?
Yeah, it's like the dude from the bad guy in Stargate. Is the or was he a cat god? Or was Stargate not real?
I don't think it's real.
Huh. So my fact check. We need Adam Collins in here for a hot second. So let's see. I just think, let's see, correction. Comic books are all fake and nothing is real. None of these are documentaries. Just kidding. So what I like about this guy is his name was already Mark Spector, but he decided to take it in a different direction, even though his name is just sitting there. And he could have been Ghost Guy or Ghost Man or Spectre. He could have just been Spectre, but no, he decided, let's make it a whole thing with the moon. And I like that.
There is already a guy named Spectre. Spectre Gadget.
Yeah. Fair. He's sort of like, our Iron Man, except we already got Iron Man. And he's got, he's half bionic, and he's like our Cyberman, I guess.
The Cyberman. But yeah, there is always the Cyberman from Doctor Who. Yeah,
and yes, and I almost bought a full-size Dalek costume yesterday, but I realized I'd have no place to put it the rest of the year. So that $20 is going to stay in my pocket, dude from next door. Keep going. Next one of these, because we got some stuff to cover.
Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still Halloween. It's always Halloween where we are.
Is Dead People's Day here already?
Really? Deaf People's Day?
Dead People's Day, yes.
Dead people. Oh, it's Dead People's Day already. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they need their own holiday. Next one, Danny.
Kenya Barris, the creator of Blackish and its spin-offs Grownish and Mixed-ish, is directing a feature film about famous comedian Richard Pryor. And as MGM named worldwide rights to the movie.
Okay. Well, I hate to do this, Danny, but since you're very tired and you read those credits so excitedly, but now I'm also going to ask you for your hot take.
Oh, my hot take. I never saw this. This hasn't been aired on the Crowland.
Whoa. Ferris. Ferris, you got a fan over here. I mean, Danny, you got a fan over here. Ferris just donated $87. A huge donation. Wow. Thank you so much, Ferris, saying long live the crow. Okay, so I guess we're gonna.
Is that my paycheck for Let's Get Ready, Ferris? Is that the way that you're giving me money now?
Don't make me pull you off. So this is very exciting news because Richard Pryor was a guy. He was in Lost Highway and Toys, I want to say. Was he in Toys? I need a nod from somebody. Yeah, there we go. He was in Toys. And he was also had some comedy specials, but mostly he's known for his work with David Lynch in Lost Highway, in which he played Eddie, the guy who owned the garage.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No, sorry, that was Mr. Eddie. That was the guy who came to the garage. I forget his character's name in Lost Highway, but it was a huge pivotal role. I'm sure Lon will correct me in the chat because I see that he's here.
Dick Laurent is dead.
Dick Laurent is dead. Gosh, yes, good pull, Danny. Great pull.
That's why I'm a your pro.
Or so maybe Mr. Eddie was Richard Pryor. Either way, I'm sure Kenya Barris is going to address this whole mess entirely. AJ saying, I'd love for this to end up being a making of Brewster's Million movie. That'd be great. Brewster's Million is another movie with Richard Pryor, as was Danny. You can fill in whenever.
I hate movie trivia.
As was.
Lost
That's right.
Highway?
Nothing else that I can name either.
Yay! Yes, that's a great movie news.
Yeah.
Right?
I think he was really famous. He was, but Kenya Barris famously just did the Matilda movie, which
I
exists.
like his mustache.
He's got great. No, that's Richard Pryor, and Kenya Barris is the other guy. Okay. Kenya Barris has done a great couple things recently. Not Matilda. Why I say Matilda? The Witches movie was not the greatest, but I'm going to put that on Robert Zemeckis' feet because like, what was going on with that? You know, if Guillermo del Toro had kept that movie, that would have looked a lot better.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's news about it. That's news. Period.
I'm still surprised that people are making movies.
I'm very happy people are making movies. I was about to say, call me when we get some casting updates about who's going to play Richard Pryor. I don't want to speculate because every time I do, I end up accidentally casting the movie for them. And then they just steal all my ideas and, you know, you're welcome, Hollywood. So let's see. Next piece
You
of
don't
news.
get any money from it.
Danny, I do not like the direction that you've been taking lately with all this money talk. Like, there's no reason that money should be something that you're thinking about or talking about while in my presence. As I've told you a million times, money is just a fallacy of the patriarchy. So just
the fallacy of what?
Shut up about it. So next one.
An Assassin's Creed live-action series is in development at Netflix. The series is part of the deal between Netflix and Ubisoft to develop content based on video game franchise. I never played those games. I never liked it.
Don't think this counts as movie news. This is video game news that's interacting with streaming news.
Definitely enjoying this motion picture art. Come on.
Live action. They were talking about series deal. Ubisoft go bye. Okay, I see what we're doing. This is skirting the realm of possibilities of stuff we can talk about. You know, this is like reading up. This is not Live in the Dark with The Witcher. We're not going to be talking about video game content.
Come on, we talking about television entirely with Liz Shannon Miller.
Interesting that you would take Sean's side. Interesting to see that brokerage of peace right there.
Yes, because I'm tired of having fights with people. You know, I'm peace crow now.
Oh, you're a peace crow now.
I'm a peace crow now.
Well, you know what we call that? We call that
What?
character development, and it's nice to see you try it.
Right.
You can tell it's so good. It's so good, Danny. You can tell you're real up here.
Yeah, I'm growing, right? I'm growing.
Yeah, I need you just a little bit higher. Peace Crow is my favorite Doors song, says Lon, who's of absolutely no help to me this evening, as he is in his own home and cannot join us. But let's see. There's a whole conversation going on in the comments. Crow arguments. Let's cancel the Crow. Vernon, take a night. We're all doing peace here. It's the day after Halloween. How dare you all?
Yeah, it's the Dead People's Day. We should not honor the dead people.
It's not Dead People's Day. It's dress up and eat cookies day, or like candy. Which, by the way, I have a ton of still right here, and that will not be a problem with me for the rest of the evening.
Have you done tricks and treats or something like that?
I bought myself $200 worth of candy to stress eat, so I guess if that counts, then absolutely I've tricked.
I don't think it counts when you buy candy for yourself. Does it? What kind of candy do you like, by the way?
Usually the less chewy kind.
Yes, not like this one that you're eating right now.
You be the interviewer for a minute. You do it.
What? No. Come on, it's your show. I'm just the crow. The peace crow now. We are on phase 3 of the peace evolution. There's a crow evolution. There is war crow. There is peace crow. There is high crow. High crow is nice. You're gonna love it.
Is high crow just off the chain?
Probably.
You don't know that because you haven't reached there.
I heard from the other crow people.
I feel like it looks like my face is all red.
What you're eating, by the way?
Twizzlers. What are you eating?
Air?
Eric? Oh, air. Yeah.
Air. No, I'm not.
Guys, This might be a new record for the amount of time that Danny and I have been unable to sustain small talk for the beginning of a show. But let's see, the only bad row is drunk row. We were discussing before we bring on our guests, we were discussing if there were any bad episodes of Live in the Dark, because my contention is like it's impossible because I'm the host of the show. So how could there be any bad? Like bad is a subjective term that only I get to decide. Hey Pete Wiz asking if I'm watching this 2 a.m. Did I stay up late? Oh, wake up early. I mean, that's all subjective, man.
He's your own Brazil as well. No,
I'll put it to the audience. Have there been any bad episodes of Live in the Dark so far? And if so, was it the time that Kaiser came on and I got so drunk that I don't remember what happened?
That's
you can vote in the poll.
That's my pick. It's not because you got drunk, it's because of Kaiser. You know I don't like him.
I have not rewatched the episode, but I heard I might owe some people some stuff that I bartered off. Don't know what that might be. I think AJ said I do something. Let's see. What is going on with it? Adelia, I have no idea what this comment is about the West Wing. What's going on with this whole conversation? It's crazy. Is that the movie? Is that the TV show West Wing? Or are we just talking about the actual West Wing? Okay.
Like the Congress West Wing.
Okay. We have a very special guest tonight, guys, joining us to give her spicy takes and tell us all about her time in the Schmoedown. We have joining us Sabrina Ramirez. Let's bring her up.
Hey,
Sabrina.
Hey,
Hi.
Drew. I don't know. You told me this was another Kaufman discussion?
Yes, and it is not.
Okay.
I lied. I'm so sorry. But this is going to actually be kind of like that in that, Danny, you fill her in real quick.
I never lie, by the way. I always tell the truth.
Okay.
So-
well, I'm happy to be here, I guess.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you. How was your Halloween?
Like that people say.
Made the best of the situation. I ordered a Catwoman costume, and that was tight. I don't know how Michelle Pfeiffer wore that. I ended up having to get an entire different bodysuit. I had it on for 2 minutes, and I was like, hell no, my body is slick right now. So I wore a different bodysuit. But besides that, it all worked out really well. I was comfy.
I dressed as a concept piece this year. I dressed as my favorite web series concept. I took Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, which is a weird web series. I'm going to try to say the word web series about 3 more times. It's a weird web series with puppets that are made of felt, and they sing songs about being creative and time and health or food, I think is one. Lon, help me out here. They sing a song about love, and they sing another song, and they're all in hell. And Lazy Oaf did a collaboration with them a couple years back, so I managed to get some of that capsule pieces and then buy some stuff off of Depop and make my room sort of look like that. To the appreciation of absolutely 0 people that were watching me do anything last night. So that was really fun.
I appreciate it. I'll look back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lon's saying, yeah, eating healthy dreams. Dreams is another one. I'm accidentally calling someone with my cell phone right now. Let me hang up.
What?
Yeah.
By the way, I dressed as a crow on Halloween.
Really? With feathers or your human
feathers.
form? Or?
Yes.
Movie quality?
I was looking back at the old days as a bird.
That technically means you and Sabrina would have clashed because she was dressed as a cat person and you were dressed as a crow boy. That's
and we know the cat always wins.
Yeah.
So
and you
just remember
and
that.
just remember, she's already defeated Batman, and we all know how you feel about Batman, Danny. Not a fan.
I'm not a fan, but that's why I like Catwoman. She's defeated Batman.
Okay, we're
that
chill.
is-
We can watch the beef.
That's true. We did. I did forget the one other thing we did last night. We watched Bats. Danny, I'm so sorry. You might want to drop out for this part of the conversation. We did watch Bats with Lou Diamond Phillips. It is a movie that, yep, there he goes. It's a movie that existed in the 90s and doesn't have any right to be not as terrible as it is. It is 3 degrees too good to be a movie called Bats, I believe, with an exclamation point. So everyone, that's as close to a recommendation as I'm getting. So Sabrina, how's it been being a person who's reviewing movies right now in this space today? How's that been going for you?
It's been going really well. Obviously, a year ago exactly, I did my first ever premiere. So I did that one for Dr. Sleep. And that was a lot of fun. And then because of Corona, obviously we don't have that kind of experience anymore. So I've done some virtual premieres and there are hits and misses. Obviously, going virtual is really, really tough for anybody. One premiere I did, I'm not going to name which one it is. They had a live chat going during the movie to try to make it more interactive or something.
Oh no.
It was so distracting because it like you couldn't get rid of it. And it was all along the side. Oh my God. It was an absolute nightmare. I ended up having to skip out on it like 30 minutes in.
I did not know that they were doing virtual premieres. I wish I'd gotten those invites. Whoever's in charge, dear Hollywood, whoever's sending out the virtual invites has forgotten to like send me the passwords. That's crazy. So do they do virtual red carpets? What does that look like?
So I haven't done anything like that, but they basically have it where it's different than a like online screener. They have it at a specific time. Like everybody, it starts at 7. You can't pause it. You can't do anything like that. So it ranges because not every single one's like that, but the ones that they call like virtual premieres, that's how it is. So sometimes we'll get some stuff with like the cast, director, things like that beforehand. But it's been pretty rough. Like I'm really back to the theater. I'm ready for that.
Oh, hold on. I think you're breaking up a little bit. Let's see.
You break up a little bit. Even your voice changed for a second.
A little bit. Let's see.
By the way, Ferris has a question for Sabrina.
Ferris has a question for Sabrina. Danny, ask her about her love of Michael Bublé.
What about your love about Michael something?
So I hope you guys can hear me right now.
Yes.
Yes. We can.
You can hear me? Okay. I share a birthday with Michael, my dear friend Michael, but I cannot stand his music. I cannot stand Michael Bublé at all. I don't know what it is. A few Christmas songs I could do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a few Christmas songs, anything like that, like his radio stuff. I just can't listen to Michael Bublé. I think that's how you like if I'm in an interrogation room and they're just playing Michael Bublé, I'll tell them everything.
Yes. And I would say, Sabrina, you've been called spicy for your hot takes before, but that's a take I wouldn't even consider like a one jalapeno level take. I mean, who likes Michael Bublé? Parents? This is like for a while when I was kind of friends with Josh Groban on Twitter, and then I had to pretend like I gave crap about Josh Groban's music, which I do not. But he's funny on Twitter. Let's see.
Good for him.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, let's see. Do you guys remember the SNL sketch Ham and Bublé? Oh, I do kind of remember that. There's also one song of Michael Bublé's that I don't mind, but I can't remember which one it was. So if you guys want to just like list a couple in the comments.
Haven't met you yet?
Nope. It's a cover. That's also a cover, but no, it's something else. And it's a really good song, but it's not done incredibly well. Let's see. I love that sketch lawn. Hi, team. Hi, Chris Engel. It's a melted ice cube take, says Garth. Good one. So Sabrina, actually, that's a good question. How'd you get that nickname, Spicy Hot Take Sabrina Ramirez? What was your first hottest take?
I think the first thing that I publicly kind of went on like a really big rant about was the movie Bombshell. I hated that movie so much. Like I thought it was that worst movie of the year. And I don't really have hot takes usually, but if I feel strong about something, like I'm passionate about the fact that I hate it. So that one, I thought it was absolutely atrocious. I thought it was like exploiting the situation. I could tell that men were writing and directing that type of film when maybe they shouldn't have. Maybe they should hire like a woman to kind of make it feel realistic. But everybody at that time, I think it was only like the third review I ever did. The third review on First Cut. So I kind of felt bad just trashing a movie, but that one kind of deserved it.
Yeah, I look, there are tons of movies that at times I'm being told by friends and other people that I do shows with, Drew, maybe when people say this is their favorite movie, your response shouldn't be that movie is terrible. But that's just my honest response. Like if I don't like a movie, and I'll be honest, Sabrina, I know there's a couple that you like that I have historically not been the biggest fan of, but ever since quarantine hit and I've actually watched a lot more movies, I've realized there's way, way, way worse movies, and I have no problem just vomiting up that opinion whenever someone's like, oh, I love this film, and I'm like, oh, that's just terrible. That's like the worst. That's the worst film in existence. Until I remember the other ones.
Yeah, I have a few where I'm like, okay, yeah, everything's subjective. This is art, of course. But I think Bombshell is objectively bad. Antebellum, objectively bad. Like nobody can defend either of those films to me.
Oh man, did you see Antebellum, or is that just based on
Yeah.
the
Oh
trailer?
no, I saw it.
Terrible.
I saw it. Trust me, like nobody should pay money to see that. Luckily, RB3 did. And then we have his Amazon Prime. So I paid no money. So I almost wish I paid money to not see it. Like if I just pretended, I could have just been like, yo, this movie is really bad during my review and not actually watched it. But I did put myself through that. And the entire time I was like ripping my hair out.
The things we do for art, right? I mean, I recently saw that trailer, just the trailer for that Michael Bay COVID movie. And my eyes started bleeding. Because the main character is named Sarah Grant, which is in fact my first name, and it just really spoke to me in a way that seemed like a grating, piercing shriek that was just screaming, "I shouldn't exist," because that movie should not, and that hasn't even come out yet. So
you are in the movie. That's what you're.
That's what it's starting to seem like, and I don't want to say for the other reasons that I think that movie is specifically targeting me, someone who used to be named Sarah Grant. But there are some other reasons I'm putting together my lawsuit for that Songbird movie. Let's see. So it says Garth is saying Sabrina is anti-antebellum. I mean, that's just probably true. That's a good catchphrase. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. BCD says Sabrina just stated she's not like my Bublé, and for the first time, this is when we disagree on something. Sorry, Sabrina, I'm a Bublé.
To each their own.
Why Americans have so weird last names?
The Assistant with Julia Garner is a much better movie about the same subject, sexual harassment at the workplace. That movie looked great. You mean the one with Tom from Succession as the boss? Is that the one, Lon? Because I feel like I saw the trailer for that too.
That's the other Tom, by the way, not your Tom, right?
I said Lon. Oh yeah, no, Tom. His character's name is Tom. It's the dude who was in Pride and Prejudice. He was Mr. Darcy and like the Keira Knightley one. That guy. Anyway.
I remember the Pride and Prejudice days that I had to watch this on English class. I had to watch this for English class.
Which is your Mr. Darcy of choice, Danny? Is it first?
I slept during that class.
God, so sleepy. Okay, let's see. Matthew McFadden. That's his name. You know, the one who's always making fun of Cousin Greg. That one. Good pull, Ryan. Let's see.
Those fan leaguers, am I right?
He Googled it. You Googled it, Ryan. You didn't have Matthew McFadden, star of The Assistant, like right at your fingertips, did you? Or did you
don't know Matthew McFadden, the best actor of all time?
You guys know Matthew McFadden. Not even sure if I have that name right or if it's Faden. All I know is he's constantly giving Cousin Greg shit, and he's God. I really wish Succession was back on the air because, as everyone here knows, not a huge movie person. That's my spicy take. Now we're gonna play a game here, Sabrina. I know I did say this was a Charlie Kaufman only conversation today, which, by the way, I still want to do.
Us getting to that.
Yeah, we are because I'm not sure if you got this email, but I did ask you to read all of Antkind before you came on here today because we will be discussing his 700-page novel that I
actually wrote a whole essay and everything. I like earmarked some of my favorite pages. So once you want to get into it, let's go.
Okay, because actually I could. I finished that book 3 days ago. It only took me like 4 months to get through the entire thing, and it made no sense. So that's my spicy take about Mankind is I could have spent those 4 months doing something a little bit more productive than reading a book where a main character does not seem to know that he's a main character in a Charlie Kaufman book. I think that was the plot. A character finds out that he's the character in a Charlie Kaufman book. I say it like that, like it's interesting.
Kind of like you with Songbird.
That's so meta. Oh, I'm in the book. I'm a character. But
not quite, because then it was also 700 more pages. So there was a lot going on. I think we spanned through space and time. Like I wish I was joking on some of this because I do love Charlie Kaufman, and after watching I'm Thinking of Ending Things, I really was like, we can do no wrong in this space. just give me whatever you got going on, man. And he did, and it was a lot. I will say this: his character in the book has a black girlfriend who he never names, but he just refers to her as such throughout the entire novel. Thought that was an interesting choice.
That's what.
I wasn't sure if that was
Cole Kaufman. Sometimes we need to, like when artists go like full self-indulgent, I'm like, just pull it back a tiny bit. Pull it back.
Yep. Yeah. Well, he also had a thing for a while where he kept saying his character sounded like he had a Jewish name, and people kept confusing him for a Jewish guy, but he in fact was not Jewish. And he was like, but it's not a problem. It's just, he would just constantly correct people in the book. And then I think at one point it does turn out that he is a clone of Hitler that's been brought into this world. So that made some sense about why he kept looking Jewish, but not liking people telling him that he was Jewish. And that's when I think I completely lost the thread of whatever this book was supposed to be about and gave up.
Video Jewish.
Video Jewish. I did like the book. However, it did have one ongoing runner that I really liked, which is that whenever this character who was a movie critic, this non-Jewish character with a black girlfriend who was a movie critic, whatever he thought about Charlie Kaufman, he think about how pretentious Charlie Kaufman was and how much he hated the hack Charlie Kaufman. And immediately upon thinking these thoughts, he would fall into an open manhole because he was in fact a character in a Charlie Kaufman book. So that was like the funniest part of it. But you don't need like 800 pages to figure that out. I just summarized the whole thing for you.
That's perfect. I don't even have to read it. I'll cancel that on my Amazon wish list. Thanks.
Yep. You're welcome. So we're actually going to get right now to a very fun game. I guess you don't get to do this on SCN every morning. You guys don't always have games or stuff, right? That's not always happening. So you're welcome. This game is called, what is the game called, Sean? I forget what we're calling it.
What's your spicy
take?
Yes.
Yeah, I did it.
Hey, sorry.
Okay, guys, so this is called What's Your Spicy Take? We're going to, based on your name, which is Sabrina Spicy Take Ramirez, right? That's right. Mm-hmm. We're going to just put up a couple stills from famous movies, and we're going to go around and give our spiciest take about that film. And for those in the audience who don't know what spicy takes are, they're like inconvenient truths. They're like opinions that are not held by everyone and are said in like a way that are inflammatory.
Wait, is there an inconvenient truth movie? Documentary?
No. Sorry, you're thinking of something else.
Oh, okay.
So, first take. We'll show you how to do this, to get you into the mood of this. Let's see.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Woo!
So there's like, this one's kind of hard actually because it's very hard to say something just spicy about Pulp Fiction. I think it's pretty run the mill.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is kind of the same thing. I am not big on Tarantino. I think this movie is an actual mess. I know. Yeah, a lot of people don't share that sentiment. People call it like one of the most exciting films of all time. People have, you go to any college and there's a Pulp Fiction poster in every guy's dorm room. Mm-hmm. And that's how I know this is a movie that I always I never vibed with. And then now I understand why once I went to college. I just think it's messy as hell. I just think it's overly, just over the top in every single way. So I don't recommend Pulp Fiction. I know so many people like it. I had to rewatch it for Cocktails and Casting with Ben Goddard back a few months ago. We had Bibiani on, and he loves it. And I love that other people love stuff. But when I was watching it, it was the same thing. It's just I can't pay attention to the screen. It's just way too much for me.
I'll be honest, when we were watching it, I had to do the same thing recently for my show, Cinema Bias with Alex Mack, where we were going through, and it was Alex's first time watching the movie. And she got real caught up. She had a hard time with this film, too. And quite honestly, rewatching it reminded me that I also can't take anything that happens once they go into the basement of the racist gun owners. That's when I peace out of that whole situation. I can't.
That's the best part of the movie. Come on.
Yeah, I can't take Tarantino shouting certain words as a character in this film. I can't take needles being driven into the hearts. I do think this movie is. I'll say it's entertaining, but it is my spiciest take is it is overrated. It is incredibly overrated for a movie that is supposed to be like so novel about its like use of time distortion and stuff. There's only really one time element that's misplaced in this movie, and it's at the very, very end. So I will say that about the film. If you twist my arm about it, the time distortion of Pulp Fiction is not as clever as people think it is. Danny, any hot takes?
Yeah, I think this movie needed more pizzas. That's the main problem of Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
Do you think there's too many burgers and not enough pizza?
Exactly.
I think if they changed that, I might have enjoyed it more.
So I agree with you. Big slice of Domino's. I mean, yeah. Here's the thing: they can't really do that because, no offense, this is LA, and this movie takes place in LA, and there's not even a universe of Tarantino's in which there's good pizza here. Spicy take. You guys have terrible pizza, but burgers, you guys do great. Absolutely.
Actually, all Americans' pizza are horrible because Brazilian pizza are the best.
First of all, I'm from Chicago, so you can't say that to me right now.
Well, I'm from New York, so we must fight to the death now with knives.
Chicago's the best.
Why with knives?
You got one slice, and it's all you need. Yeah. That's a whole ass meal right there. You don't need to go like half a pizza. You don't need to do any of that.
Jason Voorhees has always been a discount Michael Myers.
Where did
we got hold on. We got a donation from Ace Money. I'm not sure if that's one of our aces. Saying my hot take: Friday the 13th franchise doesn't have one good entry, and Jason Voorhees has always been a discount Michael Myers. Correct. That's a correct hot take. 100%. There is no good Jason Voorhees. He's a terrible. He's like a terrible killer. He's just quiet. What's good is that? That's not going to do you anything. He's got no motivation. His mommy was the killer in the first one. Okay. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Let's go to the next slide. Jason will fuck Mikey up. Jason's a dead, like a disembodied soul at this point. So yeah, sure. But Michael Myers is still human. Okay. So spicy take is this movie is fine. This movie's good. This movie would be the midway like half season though. I would say it has the most as much emotional impact as a golden era season finale of like a great show. Let's say.
Yeah, with this one, I really do hesitate to kind of find a spicy take on Empire Strikes Back. That I can't say anything negative about the film, but I will say that they have never made a film even like half as good as this one since. So like, not since.
So wait, so your hot take is that it's been all downhill since this moment?
Oh yeah, 100%. Okay. Since this, it's just kind of like emotionally, I just don't think a lot of it resonates. They're trying to prolong this specific story with the Skywalker saga, and they just haven't really been able to capture it. It's like, move on. There's more people in the galaxy. Let's hear more stories. Like, we want to see another person. Like, I'm Rey Skywalker. I almost walked out of the theater.
Well, it was the end, so you could have. I was like, nah. I'm not even staying for the credits. I'm not even staying. I gotta stay to the end. I gotta read all the names.
There is no post
I
credits.
was
not for the post credits.
I was pretty upset that she said her name was Rey Skywalker and didn't clarify if that meant that she ghost married Ben, or if that just means that she was just like ghost his adopted sister now, or like why that would mean she gets to go live on a different planet with her ghost in-law by like power of proxy. I don't know. If my boyfriend or worst enemy died and I had to go somewhere and just live with his dead mom and her brother, just as ghosts, I feel like I would feel like that was a life not worth living, especially if I had to go on a sand planet. But that's just me.
Yeah, they just everything that they've done since, like, just continue on with other stuff. I would have loved to see like Finn and Rey do something fire. Like you can still have those other characters. I would love to see it, but not have it attached in that way. Like I think it's just so cheesy to have all those moments with like Han in The Force Awakens, where it's kind of like a father type of figure. She's looking up to him. It's so weird to me. I'm just like, meet other people.
Yeah, there's other people here. There's a crate dragon with a pearl. For God's sake, I didn't know that there were other kind of sandworms that exist in this universe. You're telling me that we're going to focus on all these people when there's a whole universe where there's a sarlacc, and then there's a sandworm, and then there's like a crate dragon, and then you're telling me, yeah, you can tell me there's billions of kind of entities in this world, and we're going to focus on the white blonde dude and all his friends. And also, droids shouldn't be programmed to have anxiety attacks. That was such a dumb idea. Whoever programmed that C-3PO droid, I know it's Anakin, did a terrible job programming it, because it's just a constant ball of anxiety, and it's Android. It doesn't need to feel that way. It doesn't need to feel anything. It's not human.
I think the worst part of Star Wars is the sound in space.
Why?
In space, there is no sound.
How do you know?
I've been there.
Okay. Technically,
Space
the
Crawl.
Great Dragon is based on a medieval legend of the Wyvern Dragon. Okay. Okay.
Why you did your nerd voice for this one?
Let's see. Hey, Colin. What's up, Colin? Nice to see you here. And Tom. We got a bunch of people in here. In a universe with, let's see, what's this mean? In a universe with Sabine went and Din Djarin, people went with the white dudes. Oh, those are other characters. Yes. Yep. Agreed. That's why I think Rogue One is the one that really spoke to people, because it was the one that was like least about just white dudes doing things. Let's see. Since when can crows make it to space? Absolutely no idea. Anakin was just a kid in programming. Give him a break. Dude was winning pod racing contests, and it feels like
races, not contests. He could
racing.
have died. Not that I like Star Wars.
Contests are interchangeable, Danny. They're the same fucking word. They're the same fucking word. It's the same thing. You win a race, you win a contest. Same thing. There's not more than one winner, so it's the same thing. Let's see. It's also that giving something anxiety feels like an additional thing, like an additional layer you have to do. That's not like you forgot to put a wire in. That's like you taught it something. It's like the Dio droid that has like PTSD for some reason. The one that's like, no, thank you. My favorite character in the Star Wars series, but the least sensical one. Let's see. Of course. Let's see. Of course, the white blonde guy won the race contest. Ugh, absolutely. Okay. I want to see Sabrina in the Star Wars universe, says Malcolm.
Hey.
I think what would your character be, Sabrina, if you were going to join Star Wars? What would you want your character to be doing?
I feel like I would just be hanging out with like Maz Kanata. Like, I don't want to be training. I don't want to have all this like responsibility on my back. I don't want to do any of that. Just give me like a drink, jam out to some music. I'm at the space bars. That's where I'm at. I'm at the canteen.
Yeah, and at the space bars. Yeah. I would love for them to reopen the space bars, because it was really nice to see Amy Sedaris back on Tatooine too. I have to say, like that was my favorite thing. I was like, oh yeah, I would be the person like with all the mangy little droids, like managing the space station and like just throwing wrenches into stuff. I'd be some hard talking saloon alien monster too. I don't know. LOL
just
Drew.
Swindling people for free drinks. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would also have the vomit though that the crate dragon had in the most recent episode of The Mandalorian. Spoiler alert: there's a crate dragon and it has vomit that is acid, and I didn't know that someone could represent me so well on screen that I felt both attacked and seen. But that was pretty good. Sabrina shot first, says Jeremy Miller. Absolutely. Let's see. That's right.
Never
Sabrina
second.
shot first. Let's see. What about Space Jam? Says Aaron Brooks. It's been a hot minute, Aaron Brooks. We know who Aaron is.
Aaron.
Yeah. There you go. It's all about Babu Frick. Says Ryan.
Babu Frick. Yes. Okay. That's hey, like so freaking good. I love that man.
Yeah.
Or whatever he is. I'm a huge fan. That was the one thing that I came out of that film saying, okay, they did something right. This is the one positive thing I can say.
Yeah, for me, it was Dio, and I still had a problem with the way that a droid would somehow develop a post-traumatic stress disorder. But I did like that, like when you try to touch it, it went, no, thank you, which is basically what I do whenever someone goes in for a hug. So like I was like, yeah, I did that Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie thing. I was like, yes, yeah, that droid. Sean, do we have another picture from another movie with a spicy hot take? Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
This movie, I will say that I had a spicy take when watching the trailer of this movie when I was like 10 or 11 years old and this movie had just come out. I remember they showed the trailer, they showed you the whole thing, and then it came up and like you saw the boat sinking and it just said Titanic. And I didn't say the phrase spoiler alert because that phrase didn't exist yet. But I did shout out, they just spoiled the whole movie. And I thought I was very clever. For like, I was like, they just told us what happened in the trailer. And then no one else was in that theater very impressed. But then again, Newark, Delaware is not the greatest place to try your comedy routine as a child. But yeah, this movie sucked.
Yeah, I just feel like it wasn't long enough. I feel like they should have added like 2 more extra hours. I really wanted to dive into this relationship. It just didn't really do it for me. And honestly, rooting for Kate Winslet, like, yeah, girls survive, do your thing, like live your life. I don't like the way she's like reminiscing all these years later. Like, okay, it happened. Like,
yeah, I think one of my things is, lady, you could have kept the fucking diamond. Like there was no need. There was no need. Your child could live off of that fucking diamond. There are excavations going on in the sea for that diamond. You've been telling me you've been holding on to that for so long. First of all, he's rich, but he ain't that rich. Like Billy Zane was in no way a king. Like how he afforded that piece of jewelry for her, just insane. The fact that that's why somebody would be going down into the Titanic to find a piece of fucking jewelry, also ridiculous. Or am I misremembering the plot of Titanic? No, I'm pretty sure that was the plot. They were going down into the jewelry. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And like the thing is, I'm not a big fan of films that take like a true event and like kind of like fictionalize it and like make it all dramatic and add this other story into it. Like we know what actually happened. Somebody can read a book or watch a documentary. I don't want to watch like a Pearl Harbor or any of those types of films. I don't like them. Why are we watching these? So yeah, if it was 5 hours long, maybe they could have added more plot points to make me enjoy it. But for what it was, no. And it came out the year I was born. So everybody always references it. Like every time I'm like,
it came out the year you were born?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
1997.
Oh, I'm getting myself another drink.
Wow. You know what's the real problem with this movie? The lack of sharks.
Yes, total lack of sharks. Great point, Danny.
Imagine if the last arc would be they both in surviving for the sharks, and then the sharks get him, and then it's, no, the shark, no, he's eating you, and then he dies being eaten.
See, that was
someone brought it up here. Brandy, this is such a great comment. She didn't love you, Billy. Why keep it? It wasn't a gift from Jack. Absolutely. Why keep a souvenir from that time you almost died and your fiance hit you in the fucking face? Like, that's not a fun memory. Especially if you didn't do anything. I'm sorry. This is the most annoying part of Titanic. She didn't do anything with that jewelry. She started over in America with nothing to her name. Like, with no clothes, no nothing. She had we're led to believe, like, a priceless heirloom on her persons that she just then decided to keep until old age, never tell her child about, and then dump into the ocean right when she was about to die. That's petty.
Yeah.
That's super petty.
I mean, that could cover like college debt. That could cover a lot of stuff for her child. So I'd be pissed.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she's just like, boop, drop in the ocean. And then, the popular opinion is that she dies at the end of the movie, and that's what she's dreaming about. We don't know that. She could have just been dreaming, and then she wakes up the next day and is like, oh, yeah, I'm still on this submarine, I guess. Was it a submergible thing? I know he's obsessed with the water. I know James Cameron has the opposite of, like, the phobia of going too deep in the ocean, which is probably fine for somebody. Let's see. Okay, let's try next picture. Let's see. Shark Tale, the little-known sequel to Titanic. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Famous scene from one of the Saw movies. Let's see.
Yeah. He reminds me of a lot of my ex-boyfriends in this scene. I'm gonna be
Ooh.
honest. So yeah,
Tell me
it kind
how.
of just very creepy. And you would think like, oh, red flags like dip out of that, but no, for some reason I just keep on going. So, I feel like this movie taught me a lot about myself when I was watching it, where I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe don't date people like that. And then now I'm doing better. So it's all good.
It's good to know. It's good to know that that's particularly not what you're going for right now. I will say that I understand that impulse because, especially as an adult who has so much more knowledge about Hannibal Lecter, that ain't Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter is polite. Hannibal Lecter's biggest thing is when people are fucking rude. He eats you if you're rude. So like, there ain't no world in which Hannibal Lecter is going like that disgusting ass, like just totally grotesque thing he does with his mouth. That's rude. That's not Hannibal Lecter. That like the Hannibal Lecter would eat that guy. So
Hannibal Lecter is a great role model for men.
There's some realities in which Hannibal Lecter is a great role model. In the book Silence of the Lambs, not Silence of the Lambs, sorry. In the book Hannibal, the sequel, he ends up with Clarice Starling. He ends up drugging her and giving her a bunch of drugs and then digging up the body of her dead father and then making her come to terms with his death. And then they run away to Austria together, and it is they get married, and that's the end of the book, is them going to the Austrian opera together.
That's so cute. That's so sweet.
Isn't that absolutely bizarre and not the way that you think that series should have ended, maybe? But
that's very wholesome. Everybody has their flaws. Some people eat others. Like, it's fine.
I do like the idea that at some point she had to turn to Hannibal Lecter and she's like, you can stop drugging me. She's like, you did it. You got it. I'm here. I'm with you. I'm present. I mean, this is not like me imagining a scene. This happens in the book near the end. She's like, you can just stop giving me whatever cocktail you're giving me. I'm good. I love you now. This is working for me. And I always thought that part was like the most like ham-fisted, but also funniest part of the entire series.
I feel like he would be a Kaufman fan and he would see a lot of himself in the film, in Kaufman's stories, but not in like an unironic way, like I see myself in this, and not really recognize his flaws. Mm-hmm. That's what I would think.
He's like the kind of guy that's like justice for Craig and being John Malkovich, and you're like, Craig is awful. Craig's a sociopath. Are you kidding me?
Also, I think he'd side with like Tom in 500 Days of Summer.
Yes. Hannibal Lecter is such a Tom fan. I will say that, my version of my Hannibal is Mads Mikkelsen. That's my Hannibal. Is the one that's like really just like overly polite, really graceful, kind of has the movements of a cat, and decidedly bisexual. That's my Hannibal. He doesn't love you for like your gender. He loves you because you're like able to empathize with other serial killers. This is going to be one of those episodes, guys, where I'm just eating through the entire thing. So feel free to throw in a couple more bucks for the free mukbang. You're welcome.
Forgot it.
What's up?
One of the things about Hannibal Lecter that I always thought about is that when he looks at you, he thinks about chicken rings.
What?
Yes, when he looks at people, he thinks about chicken rings.
No, because he doesn't eat chicken wings.
But also, it's the same look. When you look at chicken rings, if you're not vegan, it's the same look that he does with people.
Yeah, I don't think, first of all, disagree, because I don't think Hannibal Lecter is particularly hungry all the time. Secondly, he believes people are pigs. He doesn't believe they're chickens. He believes that rude people are pig-like and deserve to be eaten because they are like the foul animals. And thirdly, I don't think that we look at chickens the same way that Hannibal Lecter looks at food, because he sees world in terms of crime and punishment and people acting out of turn and deserving to die, and people who like deserve our empathy or sympathy or whatever. And I don't think that way about like chickens. Let's see. Eating during a show is a great way to gain nourishment, says Lon. Tell me, Will, what nourishes you? Good job doing your Hannibal Lecter impression, Lon. Have you seen the show Hannibal, Sabrina? I think you might actually really like it.
Another spicy take. I don't really watch any TV shows, like no television whatsoever. Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor. That's basically it. Barry, Fleabag. Like those are like the only. Yeah, I've never ever been into television.
Wow.
I watched like Glee when I was a kid, which I really love. I still love Glee.
When you were a kid, you watched Glee.
I was
and
like
also
in middle school.
And you don't watch TV now. Wow.
No.
You and I come from completely different universes because I, as far as I know, have never completely sat through a movie that I've enjoyed as much as I've enjoyed just any given hour of television that you can put on. I think probably with the sole exception of a couple Charlie Kaufman films and maybe the new works of like some of the good horror people. Like I like the Aaron Moorhead, Justin B. Henson movies. I can like shut up during The Endless. But for the rest of them, I don't know. They don't grab me the same way television with its hour by hour thing can just suck me into the universe. That being said, Haunting of Hill House is an exceptional piece of television and deserves all the credit for that. But hey, like you said, taste is subjective. And as I like to say, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, and mine smells particularly bad. So. That's just my opinion.
That's a Brazilian saying, by the way.
Thank you. That is a Brazilian saying.
Yes, it is. Opinions are like assholes. Yes, that's a Brazilian saying.
Let's see. Wait, people are going. Let's see. As a consulting chef, the number 2 question I get is what I think about the Hannibal recipes. I need to know, what do you think about those Hannibal recipes? I have the whole cookbook. It looks amazing. I've never been able to make anything from it, but looks amazing. Half the greatness of Hannibal, though, Sabrina, if you ever do get into the show, is that it is very cinematically done. It does seem like every episode's shot like a movie. And my biggest issue with television is sometimes it can look pretty cheap. And I like things look well made, like high production values. Let's see. I should have a shirt. Yeah, that should have a shirt. But yeah, I love Silence of the Lambs. I love the lore of Hannibal. I think it's sexy. I think it's cool. I think that whole sociopath serial killer thing is neato, mainly because people that are like that don't want to date people like me because those two kinds of crazy don't mix well. So I can just sort of admire it from a distance without ever having to worry about dating them exactly.
Yeah,
it's just more like
the show.
Yeah.
If I ever watch the show, I'll let you know. Let you know what I think. Everybody recommends me everything. They're like, watch Breaking Bad. And then I see how many seasons and episodes, and I'm just like, I don't know where to start.
Well,
like
Hannibal only has 3 seasons. Hannibal only has 3 seasons, I'll tell you that. And
it was canceled, right?
What?
It was canceled, right?
It was canceled because they couldn't get the rights to Clarice Starling, and they'd already gone through and they'd messed up, like not messed up, but they messed with the continuation of the storyline so they could have the events of Hannibal take place before he met Clarice. It was the whole thing, but basically they couldn't get the rights to Starling, so they couldn't continue it, but they might be bringing it back. And it's totally worth it. Next one. Let's see. TV became superior to movies. I'll say it. That's a spicy take, man. Oh, this one speaks to you, Sabrina, I think.
So that was my Halloween night.
Wow. Wow.
Also, great film. A genuinely amazing film. This is something that as I've gotten older and as I've revisited it, it's something that I appreciated a lot when I was younger. And I appreciate even more now just because like everything that Tim Burton does, the way he really makes Gotham feel super, super lived in, almost like a character in itself. I absolutely love these two. I'm not a fan of Keaton's Batman. I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan either. Yeah.
Everybody is like ready to kill me whenever I say that, but I'm not the biggest fan. I think his villains in the films like completely overshadow him. And like they're so much far superior.
And I think it's such a disservice because Keaton is such a good villain, and Burton really knew how to bring that out of Keaton. I mean, growing up, I couldn't believe this. See, hold on, hey Ron.
2 favorite people in the sphere.
Oh yeah.
TV recommendations for Dark on Netflix. You go for a brilliant. Hot takes on Anna Karina. Love you both.
Thanks, Ron, and glad to have you giving that shout out with a child's voice.
What happened with the bot, by the way?
I changed his voice to sound like a creepy child, and it's never going back. So that was Aaron asking, giving us a TV recommendation. I'm sure you've heard this from Aaron before, to watch Dark. Which, by the way, Aaron, I've started season 2, and then I had to immediately stop the show and like go back to my grid of who everybody is in this program because I couldn't keep it straight. There's a whole character flow chart you need to do to watch Dark, and that actually takes some. That's complicated. But okay. Here's my hot spicy take is like Keaton is a great villain. He's such a weird villain. Like he can do so many different voices and so many strange things that putting him like in a cipher role like Batman, because Batman is like Superman, just a cipher. Like he's not all present. He's not there. It's just an amalgamation of like different character traits of stoic heroes that we want to see. It's just a projection, and like he's not that interesting. So like Christian Bale, who's like Patrick Bateman, is a great Batman because it's just a facade. It's like a blank slate. And Keaton's too interesting to be a blank slate. So his Batman was like, I don't know, a little bit watered down, I thought. Hot take.
Yeah, he doesn't really do it for me much. I really just watch it because of like Joker, Catwoman, Penguin. That's why I watch those 2 films.
Walken.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't have any hot takes on this movie because that picture here shows how the cats allied with the crows in the Bat-Crow Wars, and we won the war against the bats.
That's how that ended right there. That's the Bat-Crow War ending. I do
Yes,
like that
with the cat's help.
I do like the idea that it looks like she's straddling him by sitting on his chest, which is something that I never realized before. But that's something that oh, look who's here. Michael Keaton is Batman, says Brandon Hanna.
Yeah.
Hannah, I heard you were Batman. So now I'm getting a little confused.
Almost a better one than Keaton. I'll say that.
Oh, wow. These are the spiciest takes we are getting this evening, folks. Loving it. Bale was watered down. Keaton's Batman is what happened when trauma overtakes your identity. I think Batman is what happens when trauma overtakes your identity. That has little to do with Keaton, and that's everything to do with the story of Batman. Trauma overtook his identity. He never formed fully as a functional human being. His like amygdala is like shrunken or something. He's got pineal gland issues. I don't know. It's too much Keaton slander. I love Keaton. What about Kevin Conroy? Kevin Conroy is great. He's got the voice. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm not a Bale Batman either. Like I just kind of think he's boring in that film. I don't really get too much from him. I actually like Ben Affleck's a lot.
I was gonna say Affleck. Here's my other spicy take. Affleck is not a terrible Batman. I did not like that film. Like I really like Justice League, but I really did not like Dawn of Justice. But I thought his take on Batman was the absolute correct take. That is who Batman is. He's this like rich guy who's like really over concerned with like justice and like, you know, policing and stuff like that. And like all up in other people's business. He's super rich. I mean, he's problematic. And I thought Affleck did a perfect portrayal of what that guy would look like and act like in real life.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I like that. I'll give this to Zack Snyder. Here's another spicy take. These are free this evening, folks. The Snyder stuff is not always super great, but I thought he's clued in to how superheroes would be acting in this world. Like I feel like more so than anything other than maybe The Boys, he's got it. Like they would just kind of act like assholes all the time and just take the law into their own hand and decide that journalism was going to be I hate that Clark Kent can decide that he's not going to work the sports beat because he's just going to tell them he's going to be a crime reporter now. That's not how the news works. That's not how journalism works. And I hate that about him. But if you are Superman, you would probably think that that's how you can work journalism. So my spicy take, if Affleck had a solo Batman movie, it would have been the best. Probably.
My favorite Batman already is Robert Pattinson. Like already. I don't care. I haven't even, obviously no one's seen the movie. It's not even close to being finished. We're not seeing it for a hot minute. He's already my favorite. Okay.
I think it's interesting in that Batman trailer that it seems the Batman is working with the FBI, which is like that leads to so many more questions than I want to deal with right now. So let's see, Sean, we got another picture.
By the way, people always confuse me with Robert Pattinson. It's like a thing.
You're better looking.
Thank you, Sabrina. I like her. Can we have her more, Mister?
Yeah, we can have her back whenever we're able to trap her. I mean, have her again. Let's see. Fences is Bay. Yeah. Oh God. Okay. You know what? I have some spicy takes on this. Thanks to NerdChronic, who we watched this movie again recently. Let me try to remember what his spicy takes are with this. Let's see, because I'm gonna be channeling someone else's spicy takes for this movie. It was that we didn't find it believable that this is a hard movie to find a hot take about because it's just so good. What was the hot take? What was our hot take? Oh, that we didn't find it believable that you would just not just take somebody's cell phone instead of just unplugging the cell phone. We had a problem with that. You would absolutely just steal somebody's cell phone instead of unplugging it and just leaving it by the bed, like how this happens in this movie. But otherwise, a pretty much completely perfect film. Let's see. Daniel's my Batman. Let's see. Yeah?
Daniel.
I can't even think of anything negative to say about this. There's nothing. Like, I guess that obviously stealing a phone could be better because, we lose our shit all the time. So if he just thought he lost his phone and he couldn't ever find it, then it wouldn't be that much of a red flag. It's almost weirder. Maybe that's for a reason then. Mm-hmm. Like maybe as an audience as he's kind of getting, suspicious about the whole thing instead of possibly losing it from himself, like just losing his phone, misplacing it, we're kind of like, why the hell does she unplug that? He's like, why does she unplug that? Yeah. And it just gets weirder from there. I think that adds a lot to the film, just that subtle moment, because even their interaction, which we wouldn't get if she just stole the phone, he probably wouldn't have that exact interaction.
With that moment that she's crying and she's like, no. You mean that one? Yeah.
That's like, it's like haunting.
Yeah.
The tiny door.
The tiny door that he finds, that he opens up, that has the pictures of her with the other guys and with the sister. Like, and NerdChronic's one of his points was, why was that door so tiny? But NerdChronic has a door like that in his own home. So I don't know, what the question is. Why tiny doors like that exist. There's one in the living room, why. I think his issue was why the door was open. I do remember his other issue with it, though. And again, this is not me. This is me speaking for NerdChronic. So don't mind this spicy take. Was that at no point did you not know that something was up with this family? Like at no point is Jordan Peele, and that's not a criticism. That's just to say that at no point is he interested in making you think that Daniel Kaluuya's thinking is faulty or giving you that sense of suspense of, is he going crazy? Is he being paranoid? Like throughout the movie, you just know the entire time that there's something menacing and there's something wrong with this family and that he's right and that they're crazy. But I'm not sure if that's a criticism. I think we were just comparing it to The Invitation one night and Eric really liked The Invitation. Let's see.
So you mean to tell me Eric has a tiny door?
Yes, there's a tiny door. It's a tiny door. And I found out it was... Love it.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that's never a good thing. And he probably hasn't done anything crazy with the tiny door, but past people that have lived there, I'm like, that's never a good sign. I don't want to see a tiny door.
Where the tiny doors lives?
It's a portal to Malkovich's head, or it's where you keep all the pictures of people that you are using as vessels. By the way, two very related movies with two very similar cast, symbolism, a lot of imagery is the same. I read a whole piece on this once, how Being John Malkovich is like a predecessor to Get Out, and I stand by that 100%.
Catherine Keener.
Catherine Keener is absolutely, Catherine Keener, the tiny door. There's even that one Asian guy that's hanging out with the rest of the old people that's the same, it's the same kind of guy who's hanging out with the old people and Being John Malkovich. It's perfect. Hot take, I love Us as much or even more than Get Out. That is a hot take. Us is a fun movie, but it is no Get Out. Let's see.
That's my hot take with this movie. It haven't aged well. This time, people they don't have to get out; they have to get in the house. Because that's more safe.
I see what you're saying. That you get in. Yeah, I see. Well, speaking of, someone mentioned earlier, I'm glad they didn't go with the alternate ending. Yeah, the alternate ending is the ending that they sort of tap into, that you sort of get implied for a hot second, which is at the very end after he's manage to escape from this house of crazy white people, you see some sirens in the distance and you're like, oh no, he's going to go to jail for the rest of his life. And then it's revealed that it's his friend from the TSA. But the original version of this movie ended with him in jail, just being visited by his friend from the TSA, which is probably the more hyper-realistic ending of this film, but we don't need that. We don't need that in our weird time head space movie. Let's see.
That's heavy. And Eric's saying there's definitely someone living in our floors. Yeah, it's me.
Why
Don't
would you
lock me in
say
there.
that? Oh no.
Let me out.
Oh no. I hate it. Oh, Eric, why would you say that there's someone living in our floors? That that's my nightmare. That's my night terror, Eric. He knows that.
Wait.
He knows it's my night terror.
Isn't law in the garage thing?
No, I'm in the garage. Oh, don't
In
say
the
that.
basement. In the basement.
We don't have
One's in the
basements in LA.
basement.
LA
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
have basements. It's like the weirdest thing that you guys don't have here. Everything's ground level and then up. It's weird. So I think we have one more of these that we can do. And then, guys, oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I always forget to mention. I'm bad at doing this, by the way. That you should please like and subscribe to this channel. And then also afterwards, if you're part of our Patreon, we have an after party going on Zoom. And Sabrina, we're more than like want you to come by and say hi. We have the lights on and it's super fun and awesome. So, but no pressure. Is the
And
main
watch
thing.
the credits at the end.
Okay. Oh yeah, you did a special thing in the credits. Earthquakes, Drew. Earthquakes and basements do not mix. The moment I said it, I was thinking, is earthquakes the reason? But so I guess that's true.
I'm such a basement person. I've never been afraid of basements. I'm afraid of attics because, like, I'm from Illinois. We get tornadoes. We're in the basement like 6 days out of the year, thinking that our house is about to like get taken away. So
that's terrifying.
Yeah. I went home back in May for a month, and we got one, and it was so scary. The alarms in the house went off. Like, it's that bad. The winds are that powerful. So I'm cool with basements. I'm not cool with attics. Like, don't show me an attic. I don't like anything that's up there.
You just gave me so much anxiety. When I was a child, I lived in Delaware, so there were no storms and there were no hurricanes, but for some reason I got this phobia about it after being in a big top circus. This would be my Batman trauma if I was a superhero. I was in a big top circus in the middle of a field in Delaware, and a storm kicked up, and since we were in the middle of a field and we were in a big top circus, the lightning started striking the pole and started like sizzling the ground around it. And in the rush to get out, I lost my parents. So I was just like outside during this like torrential, like freaking storm, and lightning was just hitting this pole over and over. And we were in the middle of nowhere, and I couldn't find my mom and dad. And so after that, I got this huge phobia where anytime like it would start to like thunder a little bit, I would like stop whatever I was doing and race underneath a car, like a parked car, because I thought the rubber tires would like protect me. I was not doing well as a child with storms. So I got really obsessed with tornadoes and hurricanes. This is around the time Twister came out as a movie. So I was just, the concept of dying in a natural storm or just terrifies me. So I wouldn't be able to deal with that. Attics, no problem with. I sleep in an attic when I go home for the holidays. I also love basements though. So any place like that. What really freaks me out are like camping. Not a big fan of being outdoors.
When the lightning hit up, that's when you got back to the past and then back to the future?
Yeah, Back to the Future. Let's see. Hold on. That's super chat. If you want to get Sabrina spicy, tell her Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is overrated. Watch it go. We could do that for our final one. I do think Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is overrated.
I gotta go.
Is that okay? Bye.
Oops.
I like your background. It's Brandon.
It's Brandon.
I'm on his computer. I didn't think about that.
Amazing. Okay. And I'll say this.
That one.
I used to love that movie, and I haven't seen it in like over a decade. So maybe my thought is wrong on it. So it's not quite a spicy take if I'm willing to walk it back. But I will say that I was in college when this movie came out, when Eternal Sunshine came out, and I was obsessed with it. I may or may not have had a Name My Suicide Girl account after a character in it. I was legit oppressed for this movie. And then I grew up and started dating people and started being in relationships and started putting in the framework of Eternal Sunshining stuff. And then like didn't really like how that fit and felt like that was a really male version of how people think back on relationships. and then like started getting like a little bit titchy with that movie's like version of how people consider relationships after they're over. Like you keep this ideal of them in your mind and just go over and over stuff with it. I don't know, but that's me.
I disagree wholeheartedly. Okay. I think that's one of the biggest things is that as we're going through the relationship, it's a very realistic portrayal. Like obviously we have the good moments and we have a lot of the bad, and he's going through those and he still wants to keep those. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is kind of like, I know it's so cliche to say, but like everything happens for a reason. They were meant to experience what they experienced together. And that's why they became the people that they are. So if you get rid of this entire chunk of your life, you will be a different person with like a completely different outcome. Like you're missing an entire, like, I don't know, something that changes you, something that like expands your worldview. Whenever you meet anybody, even the tiniest interactions, like you change as a person. Any decision you make, you change as a person. So like a serious relationship like this, it's not something that you can just let go of because you're going to let go of a piece of yourself as well. So that's kind of what I think from it. So I don't think that he's looking at this idealized version. I think that once the procedure actually is done, also my hot take on Avengers, ugly. Everything, I love MCU. All the movies are so freaking dull and ugly. Obviously, there's exceptions like Ragnarok and Guardians of the Galaxy, but like, why do we have
straight like can I be honest? Like a hardest degree. That is the truest thing that you've ever said, Sabrina. Those movies are not great looking, and they're just too much. It's like sensory overload. I'm not down for all of that happening, with the exception of Ragnarok and maybe like the first Guardians. Yeah.
It's just nothing special to look at. But back on Eternal Sunshine, I think something like that is just very vital to listen to. I think it's kind of like a look into the human condition and why we are the way that we are, the experiences we go through, how they alter us. So by the time they get the procedure, I think that obviously they're in a place where they don't remember what they experienced. We went through his memories of their relationship and they don't remember either of it. And they're listening to these tapes where they're describing awful things about each other, but they're at the end, obviously it's like, will they, won't they, like continue on? But they're willing to give it another take because clearly they both realize at some point that this was meant to happen regardless. So even if they do try again and it doesn't work out, that doesn't necessarily mean it didn't add something significant to their lives.
Have you, Kat, that's a brilliant argument.
Very touching.
Have you ever read the original ending that Charlie Kaufman had for this film?
Mm-mm. No.
In the ending, you skip forward 50 years and you get old Joel, and he's going into Laguna Corp, and he's and Kristen Stewart's working the desk, and he just goes up to her and he's like, "I'd like to erase a woman named Clementine," and it's the 400th like procedure that they've just gone through, and they've wasted their lives getting each other erased, then meeting each other, and then getting erased. And Kristen Stewart, the part that breaks my heart is Kristen Stewart is still, Kristen, yeah, she's still working the desk. Like that's the part that breaks my heart. It's like that she hasn't managed to get out of that trap. That's the part that I'm like, that feels a little bit more Kaufman-y than.
Yeah, I think in a lot of his films, he has so many like cautionary tales. Mm-hmm. And this is another example of that. It's kind of because I don't necessarily take it positive or negative. Sure. I don't know. I'm right in the middle on this story where I see the beautiful moments. And then I also see like the heartache and the things that you kind of want to avoid in life. And I don't know if I was in that situation and I was either Joel or Clementine, I don't know if I would go again, hearing all the things that they had to say about each other. But also like sometimes I guess if this was real, imagine how many people would be getting it for every single thing. Like we see in the film, somebody's getting it because their dog. Yeah. And then somebody else calls and she's like, "Oh, you can't have multiple procedures all in like one span of time. Like you have to wait longer." So imagine how people would kind of abuse this thing. And then yes, that alternate ending is a good example of that. But right. I think that's the different thing is that we're in a world where this is not possible. So we have to live with everything regardless. We have to live with the good stuff and the bad stuff. And that's it. And this is like this fantasy where you can relate, like erase it all, but we can't at all. We just got to live with it.
Well, I think that's absolutely right. Well, what it is like a fantasy about the allure of the idea of being able to erase the hardships in life and being able to erase the hard parts of life. But in actuality, the hard parts in life is that's where we get the strongest, is along the cracks of, like, you know, where we've been broken. So that's where we become the most human, and that's where we grow. And to erase that is to stay in this like weird suspended state of childless or childishness, where we're just never feeling hurt, but we're never actually experiencing anything. Because to experience love is to get hurt, and to continue to believe in love is to continue to believe in the idea that, like, the hurt is going to be part of it, but the experience that you're going to get along the way is going to be making it worth it. So I think that's the part of Eternal Sunshine I agree with. Not necessarily that they would get back together, but that they would be able to believe that it would be worth all those terrible things that they would eventually have to hear about each other. Because that's, like, you know, what's the best case scenario is you fall in love and you just wait around until one of you dies. Like, that's the best case. Like, that's what happens if you guys love each other throughout, right?
If we think about anything for long enough, everything sounds bad. Whatever any outcome is, it's just like, whoa, that's crazy. I don't want this. I don't want that. It's like, then where do we land? It's like the whole process of us being along for that ride slowly. Like, we're not necessarily thinking about any endpoints. And that's something that I love that we see a lot in, like, Kaufman films, whether it's like Anomalisa or something like that, all these cautionary tales. And I binged all of Kaufman's filmography for our episode of The Meaning Of on him that we did a few weeks ago. All in like 3 days.
I didn't listen to that. Oh, wow.
It's like 3.5 hours long for good reason. There's so much to talk about. We talked about I'm Thinking of Ending Things for like over 2 hours.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. But yeah, I binged them all in 3 days. So freaking sad. Like, I don't know how to feel at the end of all of them. Like, it's just.
Did you do them in order, or did you do them like in chronological order, or did you pick certain ways to?
I did chronological order except for Eternal Sunshine. I did Eternal Sunshine first, but then the rest of them after.
Okay. This is the opening to that guy's weird wedding toast in Bly Manor. It is. Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
That is. First of all, it's not a weird wedding toast. It's a weird rehearsal dinner toast. And it is that point. But it's being well made, and I think I just did a good job with it. So shut up, NerdChronic. Let's see. We also have Garth here saying, I erased my memories by doing trepanning. That's true. Trepanning, and I drove to the head, and bye-bye sad memories and happy memories. Fair enough. I like just taking Ambien and forgetting about whole periods of chunks of time. That's how I managed to not remember that whole Kaiser episode now. So yeah, so this is a little bit more real talk than we usually get on Live in the Dark.
I was touched by hearing Sabrina's take on those points.
This is why we love In the Dark, because you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you're going to get silliness. Sometimes you're going to get people auctioning off baloney, and sometimes you're going to get some really, really heart-to-heart takes about what love and it means to be human. So thank you for joining us. Before we end the show, yeah, no problem. Before we end the show for the evening, guys, let's see. Do we have any thoughts or comments or final questions for Sabrina or the rest of the crew here? First of all, Danny, I love your. Is that in the wall, or is that like a separate piece? Is that like coming out from the wall?
No, that's a light bubble that I forgot to turn on. I will do it.
No. The door. Is it like a door, or is it like a cabinet? Like what's out behind it?
It's a cabinet.
Okay. Is it jutting out from the door or the wall, or is it like on a separate stand?
No, it's a separate stand.
Okay.
It's a tiny door.
Because it's not a tiny door.
I thought it was a tiny door, and that's how I was trying to
not a tiny door.
I want to see that. Yeah, it's a tiny door.
It's absolutely a tiny door. Okay, so Aaron's saying there's a huge lack of berets going on here. Aaron, she just moved. We all don't know where our stuff is. I do want to say, we were talking about a little bit earlier, you did recently move. I myself have recently moved as well, inadvertently, cross country. And I did it 1 year almost to the date that I'd moved all my stuff from LA back to New York. So it's I can relate. I overstand. When they delivered all my stuff from New York here into this tiny little garage where I live, and it was packed like, 20 boxes high, I nearly vomited. It was something. It's
like
a whole
dragon vomit.
Vomit? What?
Like the Krat dragon
Yeah,
vomit.
like the crate dragon. Like the crate dragon, I almost vomited. Right. Yeah, good.
Yeah, moving is the worst. And
Yeah.
moving during like the pandemic right now has just been an absolute nightmare. I've done it twice. I went to a new apartment when we did the quiz for La La Land, and then I moved again. So I've had this place for the past month, and I'm still not done. There's so much that has to go down slowly, day by day, guys. Take it easy.
It looks gorgeous. Like it does. I'm not just saying this new setup you have looks gorgeous. I love the way that the whole thing is framed nicely. It has this kind of homey glow to it. What I'm saying is I want to go to there. So love it.
I was going to say, if you ever want to go to a virtual premiere with me, you could just sit 6 feet away and you're technically my +1.
Yes, let's do it. Let's get it in there. Okay, guys, I think this is where we're going to end it for this evening. So, because I just got an invite, so that's all I needed for this whole show. Sabrina, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SabrinaXMonica, and then also on Twitter at SabrinaOnFilm, on the First Cut YouTube channel, First Cut TMO on Twitter and Instagram, and then patreon.com/SabrinaOnFilm. And then, of course, SEN, Cocktails and Casting, all of the goods. But Patreon is something that I've really, really loved. I've done it over the past 4 to 5 months now. And we do film club. So we all hop on Zoom calls, just recommend movies. We have themes every few weeks that we change. Aaron, he's part of it. It's awesome stuff. Like, I've learned so much. It's just really great. So yeah, thank you guys both for having me. Great to hang out with you, Danny. Like, you're awesome.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Yeah. And then Drew, of course, it's always a pleasure, Drew.
Oh, no, absolutely. Look, Aaron's asking what's the next quiz you're playing. That's true. What's the next VideoChronic quiz we're going to be able to get you on?
Oh, I would do anything. I would do Eternal Sunshine. Short Term 12 is something that I watched recently that I love. I'm thinking of ending things.
Wait. Did you say Short Term 12?
Yes.
Just said Short Term. That's like NerdChronic's favorite movie of all time. So
that's one of my favorites.
It's literally his #1 favorite film. We have actually done an Eternal Sunshine quiz, and what we might have to do, because that's the first quiz I ever won on the VideoChronic quiz, like pop culture quizzes. And like I said, I'm not even the hugest fan of it, but I think it tells you a little something how many times I've seen the film, but I was able to just knock it out of the park while like kind of tipsy on my birthday. But we might have to do is get you on and give you the questions and see if you can beat my score. And so,
oh yeah,
we can do that. So
yeah,
Danny,
anytime.
Danny, where can we find you?
You can always find me living the rooftops of my misters here in Live in the Dark with VideoDrew, or at Let's Get Ready to Talk Schmoedown podcast when I'm gonna show up after I finish this documentary series that's consuming my life and energy.
We get it. You have a job, Danny. We get it.
Must be nice.
Yeah, right? That must feel wonderful for you. We're so happy for you.
I'm so happy doing that, being on NerdChronic mode every day. So
don't take NerdChronic as an adjective. You can't take NerdChronic as an adjective.
I created NerdChronic mode. I stand by it.
No. Okay, so.
And where people can find you, mistress?
I'm just a thirsty ass bitch tonight. People can find me here on this channel. This is my channel. I own it. You can find me here on Mondays and Thursdays doing the VideoChronic pop culture quizzes at 9 p.m. On Tuesdays, I do Cinema Bias with Alex Mack at 8 p.m. Sundays, we do Live in the Dark right here at a new time starting next week for Danny's precious little lack of daylight savings time in his country. So we'll be starting to do this at 8 p.m. starting next week. But you can also find me on my Patreon, patreon.com/VideoDrew, where we have a lot of fun stuff coming up that we've been doing. We do movie watches. We do what else do we do? Oh, we do study sessions every day because, as I said, there's an upcoming tournament that we're playing. We have fun karaoke on Friday nights over on twitch.tv/VideoDrew. And if you're a Patreon member, you do get to come to this after party that we're doing directly after this show. So I'll be seeing you guys over there. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us, Sabrina. And hopefully we'll be seeing you very shortly.
Oh, yeah.
Say goodnight, guys.
I'm going to go to the tiny door.
Bye.